Russian scum are once again trying to use the gas pipeline to infiltrate Kupiansk. How does this happen? Is it possible to completely blow up this gas pipeline? Why do Russian soldiers like sheep keep crawling into the pipes and every time end up rotting there? How many more such pipes are there in the combat zone in the Kupiansk region? We will find out together today. That's the question. In this episode of Tim, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, friends, and leave your comments. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's get started right away. And we'll start with a recent statement from our fighter, our serviceman. Yesterday, the Chief Sergeant of the Battalion Tactical Group of the 13th Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine, Khartia, with the call sign Ayacho, stated what is currently happening in Kupiansk and how the occupiers keep pushing forward through the gas pipeline into the city. Let's quote him further. He says the following: "As of today, the enemy remains within the city limits. It's hard to say the exact number because the enemy does not reveal themselves. Their main tactical objective remains to try to amass forces within the city. Our task, first and foremost, is to prevent this and to block their escape routes." And earlier, just by the way, it should be mentioned that another representative of Khartia, a well-known journalist in the past, yes, now serviceman Yuri Butusov, said that the Russians are not giving up attempts to break through a corridor to Kupiansk, but in vain, because the city is currently under our control. You know that after the successful counter-offensive operation, the Russians are basically trapped in the city. They are scattered throughout Kupiansk. But overall, it should be said that Russian forces are trying to use the underground gas pipeline as their main route to infiltrate the outskirts of the city. Yacho says this: "We control this pipeline," he says. "The technical authorities responsible for this gas pipeline are informed. We understand all the tactical features and are trying to ensure that not a single enemy reaches the city." End of our fighter's quote. So we're once again coming back to the same story with the pipeline. An empty gas pipeline, possibly about 1.5 meters in diameter, dark, cold. There may still be traces of gas in this pipe. And along it, Russian soldiers crawl for 14 kilometers. Sometimes they even use electric scooters inside to move faster. Their goal is to emerge on the outskirts of Kupiansk and begin sabotage operations or amass forces. But there's another factor. Unfortunately, it's the weather. It can work both for and against us. In this case, it's a disadvantage because the Oskil has frozen over, as our soldier says, and this has created an additional route for the occupiers. We control this approach route, he says, as well as these isolated enemy groups. Those who try to move toward the city are killed. In other words, the enemy is using the frozen river to infiltrate the outskirts of Kupiansk, both underneath it, through a pipe under the river, and over it across the ice. So, the enemy is in the city, not many, but they are present, scattered, hiding, and surrounded. So they have no chance of survival. Well, either surrender or you'll be eliminated. Their main tactic is to crawl through the gas pipeline. Here, take a look at the footage. Our fighters control the exits from the pipe and all approaches to it. The main task is to prevent a mass buildup, and it is being accomplished. But let's figure this out, friends. When did this all actually start, and how did our military respond to it? Back at the beginning of December, the commander of the Achilles Regiment, Yuri Fedorenko, spoke about a unique operation. His unit, working in this direction since April, discovered this atypical, so to speak, but very important, critically important logistics channel. That very same pipe. It was a safe route for the Russians to amass their forces. So what did our guys do? They didn't wait for them at the exit to pick them off one by one. They solved the problem systematically. 3 new explosive charges were used to destroy the pipe. Now take a look at these shots. At the fountain, bam! And this isn't just a strike on a group, right? This is the elimination of an entire route. Invasion? Now, it's important. According to our guys, the military, there were 4 pipelines in Kupiansk. Our servicemen damaged 3 of them right away, and they took the exit from the 4th pipe under fire control. The helmet immediately appears on screen. Bam, and that's it. No more Russian gear. This massive operation led to the enemy losing this secret route, so to speak. But through this, as I understand it, 4th working pipe, which is under our fire control, the scum kept trying to get through. And here is a new attempt which happened in January in the Kupiansk direction. Once again, the 77th Separate Airmobile Brigade foiled another one, this pipe assault. The enemy once again tried to use the Soyuz gas pipeline to secretly approach the area near Nova Krylyakivka, gather 50 of their soldiers, and launch a sudden attack. Our intelligence discovered this. Here are the images. The 77th is showing them, and the guys set up 2 ambushes for the occupiers, as Putin likes to say. As a result, they managed to eliminate 40 Russian soldiers, which is almost the entire assault unit. And as our guys themselves say, as the fighters say, the enemy did not achieve their objectives. Instead, they're now rotting in the pipe, and our defensive line has been stabilized. Well, in other words, but friends, that's just one perspective. Let's take a deeper look with analysis from international journalists. Today I was reading, as I was preparing the material, a fresh article from the Washington Post, a well-known and influential American publication. And the correspondents of this publication spent several days with the fighters of the Karti and Achilles brigades and wrote a detailed report that reveals much more context. And this is how they describe it. Ukraine's success on the battlefield deprives Russia of a key city as a bargaining chip. This is actually a very important phrase. Why is that, friends? Let me show you like this. Why is this phrase important? Because Kupiansk is not just another city. It is a major railway hub, and whoever controls it controls the logistical routes in the region. Russia captured it in 2022, occupied it, and lost it during our counteroffensive. We managed to deoccupy it. Now Russia is desperately trying to take it back. Why is this so important for Putin? First, it's about propaganda, because controlling the city would give him a victory to cover up the huge losses. Second, it's about negotiations, because he would like to use Kupiansk as a bargaining chip in talks. Like, we'll give you something in the north, but you give us Kupiansk. Well, so to speak. But if the city remains under Ukrainian control, that card simply drops out of the game. Third, it's about strategy, because it's proof that Putin wants more than just Donbass, something I've been trying to tell everyone since 2022. His goals are much broader, and he's interested in all of Ukraine, friends. Donbass is just an intermediate stage for him. That's why journalists describe a specific episode of hunting down a Russian who survived after a strike on the group that had come out of that pipe. He hid in a house, started a fire there, the smoke gave him away, and a Ukrainian drone finished the job. So this is a daily routine, search and destroy. This is how the situation is now, but in the summer of 2023, in fact, it was critical, this very situation, because back then, for example, Yuri Fedorenko from Achilles openly told the leadership, if you do not give us units with trained assault troops, we will simply lose Kupiansk. They were heard, thank God. Syrskyi then sent special drone and infantry units there. The initiative was ours. It had been regained. And Colonel Maxim Holubok compared this elimination of Russians in the pipes to a game of baccarat. He says, we have a hammer, and those moles keep coming out, but the hammer works. Well, I guess that's convenient, right? When they send their freaks into the pipes, they drill these holes there or come out where it seems safe for them, but we control this area and just shoot at them. A few of them come out. But I still have a question. Is it possible to just eliminate, well, destroy this pipe, the last one, as I understand it, to completely block any possible routes? So we need to talk about, and here, look, take a look at what this pipe looks like when it's blown apart. What is the enemy's tactic and how are we countering it? Look, what is Russia doing? This is not a massive assault. They don't do that anymore. They send individual soldiers or small groups. The gas pipeline is their main route when we're talking about Kupiansk. It is protected from shelling and observation. A route. They use it because it provides cover. They can come out, sometimes change into civilian clothes there, hide their weapons, and so on. But our intelligence is working, our drones are working, so we destroy them right at the approaches. How do we operate? What is our counteraction? We study the construction plans of the pipes. We interrogate prisoners because we managed to capture them in groups who tell us about the routes, all the hideouts, the scooters they use to move through the pipes, and so on. We have control over the exits because we maintain constant surveillance of all possible exit points from the pipe. And through the gaps and shelters, these are forest belts, buildings, and so on. All of this is under our control. On our side, we carry out proactive strikes. That same representative of Achilles, Anton Shmyhal, explained how they struck the underwater sections of the pipe underwater with 15-kilogram bombs dropped from drones. And after that, movement through the pipe stopped for 2 weeks. You see? And then, as I understand it, the Russians repaired everything again. We have drone dominance because up to 100 can operate over the city at the same time. Ukrainian drones of various types are at work. They conduct reconnaissance, they destroy the enemy. Yes, this is not a fast, lightning-quick counteroffensive. It's daily routine, exhausting work, clearing streets and buildings. We still need, as I understand it, at least from the material in the Washington Post that I read through, half a year to completely clear the cities of Russian occupiers, and that's it. But the talk from Putin, Gerasimov, and other degenerates from Russia's political leadership, what have they actually taken? Kupiansk, it's all lies. Why is Kupiansk important, friends? Because it's a hub. Without it, supplying a wide front becomes more difficult. There's a moral factor, and success here proves that Ukraine is capable of repelling attacks and liberating territory under challenging conditions. And it's also a political symbol. It's a rebuttal to Russian propaganda and manipulations at the negotiating table. So, what do we have in the end, friends, as a result? On one hand, there's the Russian tactic of senseless losses, trying to use any, even the most absurd means like the gas pipeline to achieve political goals. A tactic where a soldier's life means absolutely nothing to them, and it fails because our guys know and control the situation. Our guys. And on the other hand, the Ukrainian response is intelligence, technology, tactical skill, coordination, and most importantly, an understanding of the value of every defender's life. Here, they don't throw thousands into battle just to, overwhelm with bodies. Here, they work precisely, carefully, and professionally. Respect to the armed forces of Ukraine for protecting us. Thank you, friends. Please stay on this channel, subscribe more actively, and write in the comments what you think about this. Regarding these endless attempts by Russian degenerates to sneak through gas pipes into the rear of our defenders, thank you for watching to the end, and see you next time.